this afternoon. He was unaware that there had been the deed that we're discussing today was on the website. We had the old deed. I sent that to him. He still wants me to reflect to the council that on behalf of his clients, who I believe is Mr. Simmons and a couple of other folks, that he still objects to the ordinance and the deed. And I told him that I would do that. And so that's where we're at. In reference to the changes to the ordinance, and I do want to say something about what Ms. Hume said. The original deed that was, or the original ordinance that was posted was the red line that we being I accepted, which caused there to be a numbering problem. Since about the end of December, the current ordinance that we have, which was the one that was passed, was on the website. There are some changes that we're going to have to make based upon what was provided by Mr. Funk that we'll talk about after we start the second reading on this, Your Honor. And it would be appropriate to go ahead and have the second reading and then discussion and any changes that we need to make at this time.
We want to go to the deed or to the ordinance first?
Well, we can talk, I guess the agenda has the deed first. We can discuss the deed. I'd let Mr. Funk talk about that. He is the crafter of the deed, but I think that the deed we have in front of us was the deed we had back in December, except it reflects that Swan still has a partial ownership in the property, and we are also asking that both Swan and HF Hilltop execute the deed. That is the copy of the deed that is on the city's website at this time. I have reviewed the deed. I feel that the deed is appropriate. I think that it covers the intent of the street use agreement. There was a question about the reversionary clause, which we did discuss about in December when we made the change to the ordinance, and why the reversionary clause was in the ordinance and the agreement, but not in the recorded deed. If council remembers, part of that issue was with the lenders of the Hilltop project, and that they're concerned about having that in there would prohibit them from getting the lending. And so that was why that was not in the deed back when it was originally done, and it was discussed at that time, and that's why it's still not in the deed. Mr. Funk, if you have anything you want to say.
Yeah, I have a couple comments with respect to the fact that we now have two parties. That was discussed at the last meeting, and I expressly ask you to appreciate that we may be changing those parties, and with the expectation that it has no material effect on anything being done. With respect to pretty much all of Ms. Hume's comments, those pertain to the provisions in the ordinance that merely recite the provisions of the street agreement, which were agreed to years ago. We're not changing anything in that other than the two amendments that have been proposed and passed on first reading, or agreed to on first reading, and then the adaption of those provisions to reflect that we now have two grantees. So grantee is changed to grantees. Its is changed to their when appropriate, but those are just minor grammatical changes. And I'd also like to stress that some of the comments seem to reflect that this is a whole new deal and we're changing everything, and we're not. We're making two very simple changes to allow for the transformer pad and to allow for the existing overlook point to remain as it is. That's it. It's not reinventing the wheel. It's starting pretty much all of the objections raised today are to things that were done in the original deed years ago. And I believe the time has passed to object to those. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments from the council? Okay.
Just briefly. So Mr. Sayer, in your opinion, is the street use agreement that we are voting on now as written enforceable?
Yes,
And then is it clear to you in the current agreement who the ownership is?
yes,
And Mr. Funk, is it true to say that the Schofields are still the lead investors of these groups?
Still believe in what?
The lead investors of this group?
I don't have personal knowledge of that, but Laurel shakes her head affirmatively.
Thank you.
Thank you, Storm. All right, council, if we, pardon my cough. I do not have COVID. I had 3 tests today. They're all negative.
the last person that told me that.
Yeah,
I
see, right there.
just have to say that.
Okay, let's, council concentrate on agenda item number 3. Chair will entertain a motion for adoption if so inclined. Discussion and take action if necessary on the corrective and amended deed by and between the Corporation of Harpers Ferry and HF Hilltop LLC. Council?
I move to approve the corrective and amended deed by and between the Corporation of Harpers Ferry and HF Hilltop LLC. Second.
We have a second from Christian. Any discussion on a motion to approve? All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand.
Aye.
Let the record reflect unanimous. Do you want to?
You ready for me to read the title to the ordinance?
Yes, sir.
So first we need a motion to approve the ordinance by title only. And then we'll have a discussion. We're not approving it right now, just
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
a motion to approve the reading of the ordinance by title only.
I move to consider the deed by title only.
Do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
Second from Laurel. Any discussion on the motion?
Let me read the title first.
That's,
An ordinance of the Corporation of Harpers Ferry authorizing the mayor to execute the corrective and amended deed by and between the Corporation of Harpers Ferry and Swan Hilltop Operating Partners LLC and HF Hilltop LLC. Now we're ready for discussion.
any discussion, council?
And Your Honor, I would also like to go through the ordinance where we need to make a couple of changes. I would propose these changes. We'll go through it. Council can look at them. And at the end, we need a motion to amend the ordinance.
Okay.
So the first one is back into I've already handed them out.
Oh, okay.
That one might be easier to read. Mine has
Red.
well, they have the underline there, but that one might be easier. So, Your Honor, in the title, we want to change it to say Harpers Ferry and Swan Hilltop Operating Partners LLC and HF Hilltop LLC. That's in the very first paragraph. In the second paragraph on page 2, we would add in Swan Hilltop Operating Partners LLC, a Delaware limited company, and then it continues on HF Hilltop LLC, a Virginia limited liability company. Continuing to add in Swan Hilltop Operating Partners LLC and HF Hilltop LLCs are sometimes referred to herein collectively as grantees. Going to page 2 at the top, we're adding into that paragraph conveyed a 67 3/10 interest in, continuing what is already there in the below described real property to HF Hilltop LLC, with Swan retaining the remaining 32 7/10 interest in said real property as tenants in common with HF Hilltop LLC. Going to page 3, in paragraph title section 1, we would be adding after amended deed conveying unto Swan Hilltop Operating Partners LLC an undivided 32 7/10% interest unto HF Hilltop LLC and undivided 67 3/10% interest as tenants in common. Continuing on to a proposed change to page 8. In the second paragraph, it says the conveyance of the hotel streets to grantee, it should now refer to grantees, plural. In paragraph number 1 after that, the same change to grantees at the very first word. 5 lines down, grantee to grantees. There is an additional word of screening in the 8th that needs to be deleted. Paragraph 2, the first word should be amended from grantee to grantees. On to page 9, there are several of these grantee to grantees. I will go to each one. Paragraph 3, the first word. Paragraph 4, the first word. And then in sentence number 4, for line number 4, there's a grantee that now will be grantees. And line 6, the same issue, grantee to grantees. And at the last line in paragraph 4, as it will now be as they shall deem necessary. Paragraph 5, we're changing the word grantee to grantees in the first word, the third sentence, the 5th sentence, in the, or 5th line, I mean, in the 6th line, the word it would be changed to they. In paragraph 6, this is all on page 9. The first word grantee to grantees, line 3, grantee to grantees, line 5, grantee to grantees, and the final line, it to they. In paragraph 7, it would be grantee to grantees, line 3, grantee to grantees, line 9, grantee to grantees, line 11, grantee to grantees. Going to page 10. In paragraph 8, the first word is grantee to grantees. Line 15, grantee to grantees. Line 18, grantee to grantees. Paragraph 9, grantee to grantees. Paragraph 10, the line would change to the conveyance of the streets to grantees. Paragraph 12, first word grantee to grantees. And then further, the word agrees to agree. Page 11. Grantee would be changed to grantees in the first line. Line 5, grantee to grantees. Line 6, it's to their. Going down to paragraph B. First line, grantee to grantees. Line 7, grantee to grantees. Going to the next page, 12, subparagraph. Did I go over paragraph C? Did I skip C?
Yeah.
All right, paragraph C, first word grantee to grantees. Going to the next page, paragraph D, first line, first word grantee to grantees. Paragraph E, grantee to grantees. Paragraph 13, grantee to grantees. Paragraph 13A, first word grantee to grantees. The ninth line, grantee to grantees. Paragraph B, grantee to grantees. Paragraph C, grantee to grantees. Paragraph D, grantee to grantees. Paragraph E, grantee to grantees. Paragraph F on page 13, also grantee to grantees. Going down to the paragraph under additional consideration. As further consideration for the conveyance of the streets to grantees, the grantees agree to follow. Paragraph 1, the first word of grantees is added, shall operate. 8, line 8, HF LLC is changed to grantees. In both that, the next two designations, the final line in that paragraph, HF Hilltop LLC will be changed to grantees. On page 14, other considerations agreed to by grantees. We're changing HF Hilltop LLC to grantees. Paragraph 1, HF Hilltop will be changed to grantees. Paragraph 2, in both designations, HF Hilltop LLC will be changed to grantees. That's line 1. Line 5, in paragraph 3, HF Hilltop LLC will be changed to grantees. Line 4, or paragraph 4, HF Hilltop LLC will be changed to grantees in the first line. And the next to last line, in paragraph 5, HF Hilltop LLC will be changed to grantees. In paragraph 6, HF Hilltop LLC will be changed to grantees. And page 15, at the top, HF Hilltop LLC will be changed to grantees. Paragraph 7, the same change, first words. Paragraph 8, same change. Paragraph 9, same change. Paragraph 10, same change. 11, same change. Paragraph 12, the first word HF Hilltop LLC will be changed to grantees. It will also be changed to grantees in line 3, line 5, and the last line of paragraph 12. On paragraph 16, at the first paragraph, other conditions agreed to, it'll now read the town and grantees instead of HF Hilltop. In paragraph 2, there are 3 references to HF Hilltop LLC. All 3 will be changed to grantees. And I believe that's it. Now, Your Honor, I believe that if council is wanting to make those amendments, there should be a motion to amend the ordinance to reflect those amendments that were just discussed. Well, this would be a motion to amend that motion.
So we don't vote on that.
We're not voting on the main motion. We're voting on this motion to amend the motion.
I move to amend the motion to reflect changes in the deed considered or presented to the council.
Thank you, Jerry. I have a second on the motion. There was a second from Christian, I guess. Any discussion on the motion to amend? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion to amend, raise your hand. We have a unanimous 7-0. I'll let the record reflect.
And Your Honor, if council is ready, they can now vote on the main motion as amended.
Any other discussion on the main motion as amended? Hearing none. All those in favor of the main motion as amended, raise your hand. Let the record reflect 7-0 for the motion. Any closing comments?
Your Honor, I think the next step will be to get the signatures of all the parties for the deeds, and then we can deliver it to Mr. Funk. We'll then go to report.
Thank you, both attorneys. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank
All right, council agenda item number 5, approval of minutes. We have several sets of minutes.
Did everybody get this? There was an extra one here.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take one at a time. We've got August 8th,
I move to accept the minutes for August 8th.
second on the motion to, second from Christian, discussion on the motion to approve August 8th minutes. All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Looks like 7-0. Okay, council, let's move to October 10.
I move to approve the minutes of October 10 as submitted.
Thank you, Storm. I have a second on the motion. I have a second from Christian. Discussion on the motion to approve October 10.
There was one, I think a typo in 6A, our spoke should be changed to our spoken. And I also had a question about those minutes. The Bolivar's nomination for Gino Cisco on the Water Commission was noted, but no vote was taken. Was that at a different meeting? I know we voted on that.
Laurel, do you recall?
It's a really good question. I think that I think what happened was that Bolivar recommended them. We were waiting for the Water Commission meeting first to then recommend them to the council, and that hadn't happened yet.
So
this-
maybe that vote was taken in the November minutes, which I have not seen yet. Is that?
So then it probably happened. Yeah, it probably did happen at the November meeting.
Okay. All right, so you have a minor change,
I guess
Chris?
just,
6A or whatever, what was it?
yeah, on 6A, our spoke should be changed to our spoken.
Okay,
I just
And-
made that change.
he just made the change.
Okay.
Okay, so let's take a vote on to approve it as. All those in favor of the motion?
As amended.
As amended.
Well, the motion, original motion was.
The next one on the agenda is the 14th November 2022 meeting minutes, which you do not have. I was not present at that meeting, and I believe Melissa is.
I typed on and then my computer saved the on state, one state. I'm gonna type them and I'll give it to you this week.
Okay, thank you. And the last minutes are 12 December 2022.
I move to accept December 12th as presented. Minutes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Laurel, did you have something?
There was, I sent some changes.
Right, and I've made those corrections. Yeah.
Okay.
I saw.
So
Oh, the corrections have been made.
Yes, yes.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion? 7-0 unanimous, Kevin. Is that all of them?
That's it.
Okay. Excuse me. Treasurer's report. As of late this afternoon, Debbie said that she received no questions from any member of the council, so I propose that we adopt, that you consider adopting the financial reports on 6A and also approval of the invoices. And Debbie had an email for Alyssa. Are you prepared to read that? Pardon me?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and
Resolution number 22 of the town of Harpers Ferry approving invoices relating to construction and other services for the water project and authorizing payment there.
wait a minute for Alyssa. That's
Later on.
that's later on in the meeting. She had
That's the only thing.
an
Oh.
email.
I can read this.
Storm can do it, yeah.
Yeah, Storm, you've got it handy. I don't have it in front of me.
Okay, I'm reading it. I'm reading
I'm sorry for Alyssa.
Deb Kelly's comments. So these are from her. And she says, good evening, Mayor and Town Council. The financial reports you have this evening are for the end of November 2022, or 42% of fiscal year 2023. In the general fund, our targeted operating income is $1,056,547. Therefore, the income as of October of $573,042 represents 54% of the operating income for the year. Our operating expenses are approximately 40% of budgeted for the year. This puts us in a good position as we look towards a revision for the general fund in the next month or so. Revision 3 for the waterworks budget is reflected in this report for the end of November. Overall revenue received through November represents 46% of projected income. This includes the contribution of ARPA monies for the Elks Run main replacement. If we remove that from the income, our overall operating income and water billing receipts are 43% of projected. This appears to be on target. We are now approaching January and February when we usually experience lower than average usage followed by an uptick in normal usage late in the spring. For operating expenses, if we remove the Elks Run main replacement contracted work, our operating expenses are running at 44%.
Thank you, Storm. Okay, I think that hopefully we're prepared to consider approving 6A and 6B.
So move.
Let's do one at a time, Storm.
Oh.
Let's take 6A, review and approval financial reports as submitted.
Yeah, I so move.
Okay,
I'll second.
and we have a second from Christian. Discussion on the motion to approve the
I
financials.
do have some discussion. I want to point out that sales tax revenue, which is our number one revenue source in the town, is at 68%. That is really strong. And I know just so everyone's aware, we will slow down in the winter months, but this is a great start. Number two was the in revenue sources, business and B&O tax or business and occupancy tax, we run at 56%. And finally, number three, parking meter revenue. Actually, that was number two. I'm sorry, that was number two, was running at 55%. So we're running on all 8 cylinders, running well, and hopefully we'll make it through the winter. And then when spring pops up, it'll be really running strong for the year.
Good points, Christian. So we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the financials as you have before you. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
7-0 in favor. And you also have before you approval of invoices and purchase over to purchasing threshold. Chair will entertain a motion.
I do have comments from Deb on that
Okay.
that I can read. Automated office equipment. This is the year-end settlement for toner usage. This year's bill was approximately $100 less than last year. Antietam Tree, this is work performed for the tree grant. Invoice has been approved by Christy Huddle. AmeriGas, I've provided history for propane purchases to Steve Parody, and he has investigated the increased usage, which seems clear with this invoice. He should be prepared to address this at the meeting if you request an explanation. I don't know if he's here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
So the propane, got a 1,000-gallon tank out there. Propane is used solely for, we have 3 very large new space heaters that heat the operating space of the plant. We have a very large, well, essentially, we have been running those space heaters like there's no problem. That is something that we are working to swallow back. It's not that easily in all of our, in my control, we've got a very large garage door, the one end of the plant, the space heater right in front of it, and the staff right there. And that door is used by the electrical contractors coming and go upstairs. Their vehicles, their trailer, in and out of that all the time. And that's really good. Without me kind of out there watching the thermostat on a regular basis, I think I can crank it up so it feels like I have one in there. And so I have been working at the close, thermostat turned down. I can tell you once the contractors are on site, I don't think that we will see anywhere near they used to soon. I will tell you though tonight that I did check. I mean, I checked the tank on board. And the tank is reading about where it was last fill we had in December. So we've got another bill like this one coming in to build that. So it is something that we have to get our handle on. And I'd like to have I won't say uncontrollable pieces, but the pieces that are a little bit out of the law. Hopefully it's not that well.
Awesome.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Steve.
Okay, Steve.
Yeah, thanks for your diligence.
Okay. Okay,
There's some more,
Any-
there's some Cox Holiday.
Yes.
Good.
Sure. So check 14567 covers costs associated with providing data for grant requests to the WDA for distribution system project. This is recorded as an equity on our balance sheet that is recouped should and when we receive funding for this project. And then check 14568 covers compilation and filing of the annual filing of the PSC report for fiscal year 2022. And checks 14569 and 15999 cover monthly accounting fees in preparation of fiscal year 2022 financials.
thanks, Norm.
I move to approve the invoices and purchases over purchasing threshold as presented.
Second on the motion to approve. Second from Chris. Any discussion on the motion to approve? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion?
Got it.
7-0 in favor. Town reports, you have the town police in front of you. Chief is not here. I don't know if there's any questions for Sergeant Armentrout, but you've got the report. Okay. Ordinance, you have that. If there's anything that, any questions you have on Kevin's report, let me know and I'll get back to Kevin. Budget and finance, agenda item number 6C.
I just want to put in, we did not have a meeting early at the end of the month, end of December, early January. But we're going to get real busy here starting the end of January and next few months. We were working on the budget for the fiscal year 2023-24. Do want to remind everyone here, this is internally with our various groups, police, water, and external organizations who want funding through our budget. They need to let us know by the end of the month. And Verlissa sent out a document to everybody that's gotten it in the past. And so if you can get that to us on a timely basis, we'd appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Christian. Agenda item number 6D, Roman numeral 1. The general report from Public Works Administrator. I think, Steve, you have a quick report you want to make?
On the status of the plant projects, at this point, I talked to Eli and Alvarez rep, and he told me this afternoon that he's aiming for end of this month, January 31st.
All right.
Got remaining items, there's some left to wrap up the backup generator phase wiring and verification and then some background completion. Miscellaneous trim item, he is replacing the water line to the water main tomorrow, so that's good. Meter reading, we have been implementing an iPad tool that the guys will use out in the field to hopefully try to reduce rereads, streamline the process, the initial planning, as well as have you use upload stuff to the system in office. They used partially this past month, and then it's been full use next month. With regards to the meter reading, we issued 830 water bills this past month, 2.8 million gallons of meter use, and about $64,500 billing. In terms of our production for the month of December, we produced 6.5 million gallons of water, filtered water. We ran about 338 hours, which is about 45% of the 24/7 operation. And that represents about 320 gallons per minute throughput through the plant. The plant, as I understand it, is designed to move along smoothly at 350 gallons a minute. And it was designed, I believe, to handle 400 gallons a minute max. So we're underneath that, but we like to run lower than this. Tank levels on average, they were 80 to 85% full throughout the month. The minimum levels that we hit on our basically our finished goods inventory, we will on Prospect at about 70%, we get down 70%, a couple of times during the month. But we basically have been maintaining levels of that.
Excellent.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
I may say as Steve is sitting down, he's doing a great job down there representing this council and the water users of Harpers Ferry and Bolivar and the county He's spending a lot of time codifying a variety of different policies and procedures and processes that he is putting in place. And I think the transition into that is going extremely well. So thank you very much, Steve. Laurel, do you have anything on the Water Commission real
Just
quick?
a few things. So a lead and copper survey, which is every single utility in the United States has to survey their water district and determine the composition of the service lines. And so we are trying to keep up with that. Alan Marchin of the West Virginia Environmental Science Department has asked us to just keep them advised quarterly of our progress on that. But he has also advised us that the guidelines for exactly how many of these service lines must be tested and how that's to be done has not been completely determined. That's still under discussion. So we don't really have the guidelines to do it, but we do have our file ready to go of residential locations in our water district. And another thing we're working on is the leak adjustment rate. We're talking about whether it is worth raising it. We'll be discussing that at the next meeting. And talking about the leak, what is our leak adjustment policy. So we will finalize that and send that to the council for them to look at that. And that's all.
Thank you, Laura. Council, you have the engineer's report before you. I'm not going to read that and waste your time on that. If you got any questions on that, you want me to get with Chris Eckenrode, let me know and I'll be glad to do that. Now, Verlissa, if you could do the reading. You did a masterful job in starting it before. So.
You weren't be proud of.
All right. Resolution number 22 of the town of Hartford approving invoices relating to construction and other services for the water project and authorizing payment thereof. Whereas the town of Harpers Ferry has reviewed the invoices attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference in relation to the construction of the water project funded by the United States Department of Agriculture, and finds as follows: that none of the items for which payment is proposed have been requested from another source, that each item for which the payment is proposed to be paid is or was necessary in connection with the project and constitutes the cost of the project, that each of such costs has been otherwise properly insured, that payment for each of the items proposed is due and owing. Now therefore be it resolved by the town council of Harpers Ferry that the payment of the attached invoices as summarized below are hereby authorized and directed. Wayne Dobson Foreman, $1,595.50. Alvarez Contractors Incorporated, $189,498.55, totaling $191,094.05. Adopted by the council of the town of Harpers Ferry at a meeting held on the 9th day of January 2023.
Thank you for listening.
I move to approve resolution number 22, pay application number 21 for the water treatment facility improvements as presented.
Thank you, Storm. The second on the motion, second from Chris. Any discussion on the motion to approve? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Record reflects 7-0 in favor of the motion. Planning Commission report. I believe the only thing on here is the tree committee.
Well, I did want to let everyone know the planning commission will meet on the 17th of January. It will have election of officers. That's the main on its agenda. And we will have the next comprehensive plan meeting on the 31st of January.
What time?
And both of those meetings will be at 7 p.m. The one on the 31st is one of the main items is to discuss stakeholders and how we're going to solicit information from all the stakeholders. So then shall I move into the tree committee and?
Yeah, why don't you make a nomination?
Okay, I might mention that at its last meeting, the among other things, the Planning Commission had a volunteer, Paul Thomas, who offered to serve on the tree committee as our representative. And the Planning Commission voted to accept that offer unanimously. And so I would like to nominate Paul Thomas to serve as the Planning Commission's representative on the tree committee of Harpers Ferry.
Any other nominations from the council? All right, Kevin, would you call roll?
Chris Craig,
I vote aye.
Jerry Hugg,
Aye.
Laurel Drake,
Aye.
Storm DiCostanzo.
Aye.
Christian Petrosellis.
Aye.
I vote aye. Mayor.
Aye. Go ahead, Chris.
The other thing that as we are working through our recommendations from our consultants, WVU consultants on the comprehensive plan, one of the things that they have recommended strongly is that we alter Harpers Ferry ordinance article 133.07 to remove H from that ordinance to better conform with West Virginia State Code. And this clause inappropriately grants authority to the Planning Commission to make recommendations to the Board of Zoning Appeals. So tonight I move that Article 133 of the Harpers Ferry ordinances be referred to the Ordinance Review Committee for the purpose of revising to better conform with West Virginia State Code.
Second on the motion, second from Jerry. Discussion on the motion. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
7-0 in favor of the motion.
One more item then. There had been a request from members of the tree committee to remove the tree committee from under the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. And I think the main thrust of this is to just avoid an extra layer of bureaucracy that after some discussion, I think everyone agreed on the Planning Commission unanimously that that it made sense. So tonight I move to refer action on ordinance 1104 to the Ordinance Review Committee with the purpose of removing the Harpers Ferry Tree Committee from the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission.
Second on the motion,
Second.
second from Storm. Discussion on the motion.
Yeah,
Kevin,
Christian had his hand up.
I'm sorry, Christian.
I just wanted to add a little bit of the history that I relayed to the Planning Commission, was it last month or the month before, about this ordinance. Back in 2008, when I wrote the tree conservation ordinance and presented it to the town council at that time, there was some opposition voiced against forming a tree committee or tree board. And to appease certain members of the council, especially one member of the council, the ordinance was modified to place the tree committee under the umbrella of the Planning Commission. It was not the original intent to do that. And for years, I've felt that the tree committee should be removed from under the Planning Commission. Because really the Planning Commission doesn't have anything to do with trees at all.
But it's an operational committee, not
Right.
planning.
The tree committee really works on its own, independent of any other body of the town other than really the town council. I do support the idea of having a Planning Commission representative on the tree committee. I think that's not a bad idea. But to place it under the umbrella of the Planning Commission and add an extra layer of difficulty there to get things approved is, that needs to change. So I'm very happy that this change will finally be made after 15 years.
Thank you, Cal.
Wow.
Christian, do you have a comment?
No.
Oh, I thought your
No.
hand was up.
I thought we were gonna vote. I was
Okay.
ready to.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion to refer 1104 to the ordinance review committee, raise your hand. It's like 7-0 in favor of the motion. Landmarks, Christian, I don't know if you have anything.
I do. I have a few things. I spoke to Guy Hammer. Unfortunately, can't make it this evening. He's busy taking care of his young children. But he said that I could do this report. So I wanted to give you some ideas what we've been doing. We had our meeting last December 19th. The Weaver property. We did not get a grant for it. So Guy Hammer is in the process of speaking to the family about that situation and what the next steps may be. So it's unfortunate, but we were trying to get the Historic Landmarks Commission was trying to get funding for a study of the property to see what was possible. The Dan Risk archives that we got, the German stamps, they were redirected to the foundation. So the foundation now has those stamps. The welcome letter, we have it approved by the state. This is to all residents in Harpers Ferry. We're going to send this out to new residents when they come in. But for the first mailing is going to be to all residents and business owners of properties in Harpers Ferry. Because we had a change in officers, Karen Segezi had resigned the end of December. We have George Owens is going to be filling her role starting this month. And so we're going to add him to our list. We want the public to know who the historic landmarks people are. We're the target. In case you have any questions or something on your property, we're really the experts on a historic property, particularly on contributing structures. Appendix A, we're still working on that. We're wrapping up the final verbiage on it. It's a complex process. It was I think it was 10 or 15 years ago. It definitely needed some updating. We did borrow a lot of information from surrounding towns, and there's some amazing written documentation from these other towns that we've incorporated in our document. And we do want to, oh, by the way, back to the letter, we want to make sure we do a letter to realtors as well, because a lot of realtors sell homes in this area. And if they fail to mention, the historic nature of this community, we're finding out that some of the owners are rather surprised that they can't just do anything they want on their properties, especially if they're contributing structures. So we'll hopefully have the Appendix A done enough. We want to get it to the Planning Commission. We want to get it to the Board of Zoning Appeals for their input. Then we wanted to get it into to the town attorney's hands to look it over before it goes to town council. I don't know if you feel it that way, but we just felt it needs to go through a lot of process. It's an important document. Okay. We looked at new construction on Putnam Street. And we gave guidance to the Board of Zoning Appeals. By the way, I found that project's been withdrawn. There's a Franklin Street window replacement, and we approved, we recommended, all we can do is recommend. And we recommended that they can change their windows. That was, we notified Kevin Hamilton of that fact. And then on Washington Street, 814 Washington Street, we made a 2-page recommendation to the Board of Zoning Appeals on that property. Again, we can't only make a recommendation again, but it's up to BZA to take it or not. What we recommend. And also we have our meeting next week. So we're meeting regularly, and we will also probably do some new officers as well.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Christian. Parks and Rec, Patty. Hiding way back in the rear with the gear.
Oh, that'll do it.
For Article 140-08, I'm delivering the 2022 annual report for the Parks and Recreation Commission. The commission consists of 3 members who are residents of Harper's-Ferry. Effective February 1st, there will be 1 vacancy. 2022 December year-end bank statement for Parks and Rec shows a balance of $2,151.41 in a checking account. The commission organized 7 town events in 2022. The year started off with our annual Easter egg hunt, which was held on April 16th. The event was well attended. Music on the Ridge was held on Gilmore Paper Street off of East Ridge Street on Saturday, June 4th. This was the first comeback since COVID. The event featured 4 acoustic bands. Expenses for this event were lower than budget since the cost for the musicians were less than anticipated. This is the first time that we used the Welsh sound to amplify our music. Parks and Rec worked with the Harper's-Ferry Women's Club for the second time, coordinating and hosting the 4th of July event for the gazebo. This year's event was enhanced by Chef Mayor Greg Vaughn and council members Kristen Rich Thomas and Sloan Kazan. The chefs provided at their expense the hot dogs, the rolls, and related items. Larry Waters donated cases of water, soda, and chips. All was provided to the public at no charge. A donation jar was placed on the table, and we collected a total of $435. These funds were donated to the Ladies Club. It was a true surprise and it was a great event. In September, Parks and Rec held the first community yard sale in the park on Franklin Street. We had 10 participants, 8 rented tables, and 2 brought their own. Everyone seemed pleased with the turnout, and there is a request to hold another event in 2023. October is a busy month. While there was good turnout for art in the park, there were many other county activities held at the same time. Parks and Rec will look at recreating the purpose of this event with the potential of moving the date to another time of the year. The rain on Halloween held off, so we did have visitors at the gazebo. November brought the first annual Great Pumpkin Roll Contest. There were 47 registered contestants rolling pumpkins down Columbus Street toward the target. There was a first, second, and third place winner for both the youth category and for the adult category. Prizes were donated by the Bolivar Bread Bakery, River Riders, the Town's Inn, the Vintage Lady, Tenfold, the Village Shop, and the Harper's-Ferry Bookstore. This event was successful due to the volunteers who worked hard on putting the details together. The MC for the day, the Storm, who brought in much enthusiasm out of the crowds of approximately 100 people cheering on them. The event brought in $369 in registration fees and donations, which was donated to the Harper's-Ferry Bolivar Public Library. This year's plan included with the lighting of the town Christmas tree on November 30th. The annual event takes place each year prior to the first night of all for Christmas. It's a nice way to end the year, taking a moment in time to join our neighbors in the park. Aside from planning and holding annual events, Parks and Recreation also oversees Harper's-Ferry Children's Park, located at 877 Washington Street. The park was dedicated on May 17, 1997. This year marks the 25th anniversary of that park. Last August, our resident 9-year-old Vivian Lee wrote to the mayor regarding the current condition of the Children's Park and requested us to form a revitalization committee. Parks and Rec has met with Avery and her parents on two occasions, discussed some ideas and the vision of the park. We are in the process of putting a plan of action together and anticipate during the first quarter of 2023 to move forward with some of the suggested enhancements. If anyone would like to join in the planning for the revitalization of this park, please contact the town hall. The commission is in search of one more commission member to serve. We are looking forward to announcing and launching some new ideas in 2023.
Thank you, Patty.
And we are honored to have one of the award recipients of the Great Pumpkin Roll with us this evening. Eddie Love.
Yeah, the MC were actually the pants, yes.
I'll stay up here for the next item. Any questions? So the next item is discussion and action to refer ordinance article 1104 to the ordinance review committee for an amendment as recommended. It is the discussion and action to refer ordinance article 140, the ordinance review committee for amendment to increase the members on the number of members, commission members on the committee. And you might think, well, why are you trying to increase when we still are searching for one person? And we at our meeting discussed the necessity to have, we want to increase it from 3 to 5. We'd like to make one of those members perhaps a youth, a young person in town who might come and give us some ideas on some projects as well as events. And we held our first meeting in January, as an example, and there are 2 members, and it was at the North. And we felt that we could not move forward in electing officers because we didn't think it would be fair for one of us to nominate the other and we felt approved. So we held that off on our minutes to reflect that we were holding off the election of officers for another meeting in the near future. But we really would like to see if we can sort of a few more people to follow.
It sounds like in part that's because this is really, it's a working committee. So you really need to have the people.
Right, right. So Patty, you want a motion from the floor to refer 140
I
to
move
the
to
ordinance
refer
review.
action on ordinance 140.02 to the ordinance review committee for the purpose of increasing the number of members on Parks and Rec Commission from 3 to 5.
Second on the motion, second from Chris. Discussion on the motion to refer 140 to ORC. Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Okay, thank you, Patty. 7-0 in favor. Okay, the last item, we have,
I will do that one.
pardon me?
I can do it.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Discussion action on renewal appointment on the BZA. First of all, the BZA is short some people, but this particular person is a renomination. So I would like to renominate Ed Wheelis to the Board of Zoning Appeals with a term ending December 31st, 2025.
Any other nominations from the floor? Hearing none. Kevin will call roll for voting.
Okay, to appoint reappoint Ed Wheelis to the Board of Zoning Appeals for the term expiring 31st December 2025. Chris Craig.
Aye.
Jerry Hutton.
Aye.
Laurel Drake.
Aye.
Storm D. Costanza.
Aye.
Christian Petroconis.
Aye.
I vote aye, Mayor.
Aye.
And you can they need some help for a couple more people. They're a complement of 5 full-time members.
You're looking for 2 more
2
people.
more people.
Yeah.
Anyone here can help recruit.
Unfortunately, we cannot serve. No elected officials can serve.
I have 8:23. We could set an all-time record if we have a motion to adjourn.
I want to announce before we adjourn that the filing period for mayor, recorder, and town council members for this June's elections, that filing period began today and continues through the 27th of January if filing in person, 28th of January if filing by mail.
Okay.
And the information about filing is on our website.
It's very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second on the motion, second from Chris. Discussion on the motion to adjourn. Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion to adjourn, we are adjourned at 8:23 p.m.